All right, so I got a bit of a morbid question today, but very important, right? And the question is, what happens to crypto when you die? Wow, that is, yeah, that is a pretty morbid question. But you know what? Uh, Everybody needs to know the answer to this question because if you're holding it, and presumably, uh, well, I was going to say if and when you pass, but everybody eventually passes. Presumably, you you want to be able to ideally pass that on to your dependents. It could be a spouse, it could be any kids that you might have, or whoever you would normally leave things to, that you would write in a will. You probably want that to include crypto. Well, here's the thing, right? So when crypto first came out, governments weren't really ready for it. In fact, they probably believed it was nothing more than just a bunch of bits and bytes in your computer. And what you've seen over time is you may have seen that there's been battles in the US in particular, but also other countries with the SEC, and they are the government regulators of any financial instruments. I mean, it literally stands for the Securities and Exchange Commission. And they've looked at different cryptos and tried to evaluate whether they are a security, do they behave like one and therefore they are one, or are they something else entirely? And by the way, that's not just, are they a security, or are they potentially, are they a commodity? The funny thing that they never say is this money? Which is the big point of a lot of Bitcoin Max, is that this is real money. And you never quite hear them saying that. Although I don't know, to be honest, if money is actually defined anyway. But yeah, look, there have been all these battles, but we're kind of getting past those stages now, especially because government loves to tax, right? So you'll find that the legitimacy of crypto has basically increased over time. Whether there have been battles with government departments, its legitimacy has increased, primarily, in my opinion, because they want to tax it. They want a piece of those profits. And even though that kind of sucks to have to pay taxes for obvious reasons, increased legitimacy is a good thing. It means that you have more rights when you hold this thing. That your ownership has to be respected to a greater degree than before. And this includes, if you hold it and if you die, what happens to it. So currently in most countries, and I'm not going to account for all countries, but currently in most countries, your ownership of crypto is respected, and it's basically considered to be an asset of sorts. An asset like owning, I don't know, gold coins, or owning real estate or something like that. Now, what happens when a person dies is someone should ideally have already been appointed, like your local friendly neighborhood family lawyer, or if not, then it could be like maybe a relative or something, appointed as the executor of the estate being everything that you owned. And this is the person that is responsible for identifying all the assets, and according to the will, if there's a will, or if there isn't a will, figuring out some way to distribute the assets in that estate. And they may have to liquidate those assets as well, because some of them are kind of difficult to split up amongst different people, for example. And they're also responsible as well for if there are any claims to the estate. If the person had any debts, then they need to be paid off first, and only after that can the assets be distributed, and if necessary liquidated beforehand as well. So when you die, I recommend before that you set up a will, and not only a will, but you arrange for someone to execute that will on your behalf after, and that's probably your local family lawyer. It will be paid on some kind of, I don't know, you probably have to pay him on retainer maybe, or some low amount, so that they're ready to act when the unfortunate when your unfortunate passing happens. And they will probably just liquidate your crypto if that's in your instructions. Now, it could be that you say, no, I want to pass on to my son all my crypto, transfer ownership. So if your crypto is in a Coinbase account, then maybe Coinbase will change the title of that crypto. They'll put it they'll transfer it to the account of your son. That could happen. Or it could be that you want to liquidate your crypto and just send the cash to your son instead, and then the executor of the estate will go to Coinbase and say, hey, look, these are the wishes, you must obey these wishes by law. This person has died, and you must therefore liquidate this crypto and send it to this person, send a check to this person. It could also be that the money just gets sent into some general fund, executor fund for all liquidated assets, and then from there, wire transfers are made or whatever. Now, that's assuming you've held it on an exchange. Now, what happens if you've held the crypto in your own wallet? Now, it could be a software wallet, or it could be a hardware wallet. Now, the problem here is if you die and nobody knows how to get their hands on that crypto will be forever locked in whatever your account was. It will never be redeemable. At least for now, there's no crypto that acts like that. You could invent a crypto that says if money doesn't move out of an account, then after 20 years, assume the person's dead, maybe burn that money and reduce the supply, or take back that supply, put it back into general circulation, something like that. Let the miners or the validators have access to that money supply, and it can be freshly minted. But no one, to my knowledge, has invented a coin like that. What will normally happen is that money will stay in that account forever. It will be unclaimable, and to be honest, it's the same thing as losing coins down the back of the sofa, or it's the same thing as burning that crypto, sending it to a burn address, or burning real US dollars, banknotes. It's the same thing. It's kind of assumed that crypto that doesn't move for a while, it's kind of assumed that either it's going to be a whale, right, who's just sitting on it for a long time before they cash in, or it's kind of assumed that it's been lost or forgotten about, or someone died and it's no longer in the supply. And so it's therefore kind of assumed that crypto is no longer part of the supply, and therefore what is remaining in the supply, what's actually being used, therefore increases in value. But I just wanted to explain that. It's not, so for example, Michael Saylor, who owns a lot of Bitcoin, probably the biggest Bitcoin maxi, he was asked, what are you going to do with your crypto when you die? And I think a lot of people thought that he was going to pass it on, and he said, I think he either said, I'm going to burn it or I don't care. But basically, it's going to get taken out of circulation because he just doesn't care. He's not going to pass it on. As far as he's concerned, when he dies, whatever he's holding also dies. And therefore, that means that for everyone else who's holding it, their Bitcoin will increase in value. Maybe not by a huge amount, but it will definitely increase in value. So that's what happens to crypto when you die. Either you make a plan and it gets liquidated like any other asset and distributed to whoever you want it to go to, or it's just kind of assumed to be lost and the rest of the supply will increase in value. So I hope you found that video a good explanation, and let me know what you think in the comments below. I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye. Hey, I just wanted to add one more thing, which arguably is pretty obvious, but if you do have a software or a hardware wallet, which will be a lot of people, especially the more you get into crypto, the less you will keep your funds on an exchange, then you can obviously make plans before you die, but that will require a specific instructions to someone you trust. It could be your wife, it could be the family lawyer, you could even require both of them to get involved, and that's called multi-sig. And you need to leave instructions that tells them how to get onto your wallet. Probably is going to be a hardware wallet if you're going to go through this level of organization anyway. how to use that wallet and how to access the funds and transfer them out to, let's say to an exchange to sell, or to someone else who is then going to receive it. If you have a software or a hardware wallet and you didn't tell anyone how to get those funds, then yeah, they're just gonna, they'll just sit on the blockchain in that account forever, and you won't be leaving them to anyone when you die. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. I thought it was kind of obvious, but in case it wasn't, I'm not saying you have to leave your coin on an exchange in order to be able to leave it to people. That's absolutely not true. But of course, if you have your own wallet, no one's going to be able to know how to get in that wallet, especially if it's a hardware wallet. And even if it's on your phone, that's probably going to be protected by a PIN as well. So yeah, you need to definitely tell people how to get into it. So anyway, please leave a comment. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.